This happened to me years back, and I've told it to a few friends, but they didn't really have much to say other than, "That's weird," or something along those lines. I have lived in the same house for 10 years now, and this only happened once. I have a few other strange stories, but I'll share them another time. This one still bothers me since it happened in my son's room that he still uses. So, my son was about 3 or 4 years old at the time. He's almost 10 now. I was cleaning his room on a beautiful spring day around the late afternoon. His dad was outside grilling, and my son was outside with him playing while he grilled. His room has 2 windows that are in the front of the house, so when you look out the window you can see the full front yard. He had lots of stuffed animals, so I made his bed first, and then I picked up the stuffed animals and displayed them all cute and orderly on the bed. His room wasn't awfully dirty, so this was going to be a quick cleaning session that only took me maybe 5-10 minutes. I was picking up some dirty clothes off the floor, facing away from the bed with my back to it, with the front of my body aimed towards the windows. I felt something suddenly hit my back when I raised up from picking up an article of clothing from the floor. I immediately whirled around to see a stuffed animal at my heels. One of the stuffed animals I had just placed neatly on his bed. I expected to see my son running around the corner giggling, but I turned back towards the window and looked, and my son and his dad were still outside. I obviously got spooked, and to this day I have no explanations of what that was. And I haven't experienced anything else like that. Whatever threw that stuffed animal at me, though, threw it hard enough that it was as if they threw it as hard as you can possibly throw a stuffed animal. Harder than what a 3 or 4-year-old could have. Me and my friends was in the forest with radios, and when we was about to go out of the forest, we heard someone on the radio. It sounded like it said, "This is the voice of Mrs." in an old lady voice, but it cut off. A few minutes later, there was static on the radio, and then whispers. Don't know what they were saying, but there was whispers on the radio. We got out of the forest, but that was creepy. I'm on my knees, panting for breath as my hands sink into the soft, wet soil of the ravine that begins in the back of my school. I walk too far, too fast. After some rest, I sit up and pull my phone out, pulling up my texts. I scroll past the ones from the past week, the slew of Happy 14th. Have a great day, B-Day girl, from the usual suspects. But then, I finally find the one I'm looking for. Hey, meet you at the usual spot, deep in the ravine, Kay? I smile. Petey is such a sweetheart. Then I'm up and walking, ready to claim my prize. Memories run. The first time I saw Peter in social studies class, and how my heart fluttered the moment I saw him. How I'd catch him looking at me a bit too long in the cafeteria, and how I waited 2 months for him to work himself up to ask me out. I told Auntie April all about it, and she told me just right on where to take things. I'm jogging now, eager, and I notice I'm halfway there now. The trees are taller, the leaves greener, and the ravine and all that surrounds it is cast in the red glow of early sunset. The beauty warms me. What could I tell you about Petey? What will people say about him? That he was brave, that he was honest, and that his heart was full of love. Were the things I came to know in the year we had together. I came to know his heart, and he came to know mine. I'm there. I walk into the shed, and there he is on the chair, waiting for me. I move over to him, put my hands on his neck, and for 15 minutes, I love him. I move with grace and care, just as Auntie April taught me in my education with her. I feel the joy course through my veins as I love him, and his tears and blood taste sweet and metallic to my tongue. And then it's over. My knife is stained, and he is gone. Did you know that 5 minutes in he began to beg me to stop, to let him go? I giggled at that. Afterward, I doused the corpse with the gasoline and light it, discarding my work clothes into the flames. The love and care everyone showers on me, a kind of widow, in the wake of it all is warm. I could have been a victim too, had I gotten there early enough. After all, Mom even has Auntie April over to help. Auntie April, the decade-long co-worker who Mom trusts more than anyone. The police investigate but never find a suspect. The murder will scar our community. This I know. Time passes, and life eventually goes on. And, as it does, I continue in my education. I want to rule out that it might have been from the TV, because even though I haven't checked, I think the TV was shut down. I heard it about 3-4 times till now, on different days, at night around 2 a.m. in a few minutes. It lasts about 15 seconds. It sounds like a very unpleasant flute noise, but not exactly flute. Sounds the way an old oiled gate would make it sound, but it has a melody to it. It's not just random. What do you guys think it can be? I hear it from the upper left side of my hallway, but it's almost like it's targeting my left ear. I was also thinking government activity. Anyone sharing similar experiences is appreciated too. Also, sorry for my English. I'm trying. I need help. We bought a house 6 months ago. We didn't get to move in until this past week due to some family commitments. Throughout the 6 months, we would sleep over once in a while or stay there in the day and leave at night. A month after we got the house, my mom found a $1,971 half-dollar coin. It was in a small room's closet shelf. We thought the previous owner left it there, and thinking it might be worth a lot of money, we looked at the shelf, all of the closet, and the house. There was none. This past week, my mom found 3 more coins in the same place she found the first coin. $1,971 half-dollar coin, $1,176 half-dollar coin, and a $1 coin. It was neatly lined up in a row. These coins were clearly not there before. As we thoroughly checked, we all freaked out and checked the closet again. We found a small writing on the wall above the closet door. It looks like it says, "I see was here," although it wasn't clear. Just to clarify, no one is playing a prank. Other than family members, no one goes to the house. No one broke in. There are no signs pointing to this. We have cameras and a security system. It couldn't have been from the previous owner as we checked the closet. Nothing sticking in the ceiling or holes it could come from. He took an EMF reader for funsies. To our surprise, it actually went up 2.5 MIGs while the rest of the room and house stayed normal. It stayed lit up strongly by the writing up on the wall. When we left the room, the reading went up to 10 MIGs. It okay if this is related by my room door opened on its own a couple days prior to the coin incidents, and one of my dogs went berserk. He never growls, but growled at me when I tried bringing him back to my room. The other time, my sister heard a baby toy turn on by itself. I feel like I'm being watched in only that house. Other than that, we never felt uncomfortable. All 3 of our dogs were okay. My sister's baby sleeps well there. None of us had nightmares. What is this? We all are so confused. Both times my mom found the coins. Is she being targeted? Please be nice. It's after all our home, and thinking that something might be there to hurt us is very sad. If you have any answers on what it is, let us know. Or how to combat this situation. I've made a post about this previously that you can look back on, where both my dad and I were hearing footsteps in our home around Halloween. For reference, it is a large house with carpet and hardwood floors and is 2 stories. My dad has cancer and is often in bed, and it is just he and I here. The footsteps are only heard from about 2 a.m. to 6 a.m., and it is not every night. It actually last night was the first time I'd heard them since Halloween, knowing for a fact it was not my dad walking around. My dad also hears them. Last night, around 4 a.m., I very clearly heard what I thought to be my dad outside my bedroom walking around. I then heard something that sounded like knocking briefly. I got up to check on my dad, as I often do, and found him fast asleep in his bed. My dad's room is quite far from mine, FYI. My dad says he hears the same things a lot and comes to check on me and I'm asleep. I've heard many stories about paranormal activity being here, but the footsteps and other random sounds are the only thing I've personally experienced, besides hearing a cabinet door slam closed once. Although I 100% believe in the paranormal, I am skeptical about my own experiences sometimes, like maybe my mind is playing tricks on me or something. But at the same time, I know what I'm hearing. Can this be explained away, or is this likely paranormal? It does scare me to hear these sounds, and I rarely sleep without my lamp on. This happened years ago, but I remember it like it was yesterday. I don't even believe in ghosts or anything, and I am sure there's a logical explanation for this somewhere, but it still freaks me out to this day. Lol. So, my stepfather works out of town, and he used to stay the whole week away from the family, and we had a tradition of all taking turns having sleepovers when he was gone. It was my turn to have a sleepover in my mom's bedroom, which has always freaked everyone out. Seriously, if there has ever been a ghost in the house, it is definitely back there. I'm not going to get into all the shit surrounding that room because that's not the point of the post, but just know the bedroom is weird, always hearing stuff moving around in there, scratching and pounding at the door. Bathroom and closet lights flickering, you know, weird stuff. But anyway, at the time everyone was pretty scared and never wanted to be in there by themselves. During the sleepover, my mom said she was going to go outside to smoke a cig, and she asked me if I wanted to keep the light on until she got back. Of course, I told her to keep the light on, so she goes outside, and I'm kind of just chilling in the room for a few minutes, trying not to be freaked out when the lights burn out and I feel someone get into the bed next to me. I thought it was my mom, so I didn't even turn around. I just said something stupid like hi or welcome back, and my mom started rubbing my back, and her hands felt cold. But of course she was just outside smoking, so of course she would be cold. Anyway, she keeps rubbing my back and then starts scratching it, and it actually really started to be uncomfortable, and it actually started to hurt. It wasn't a normal back rub or back itching anymore. She was hurting me. I told her to stop, and at first she did, but after I asked again, it went back to a normal nice back rub. But as you may have expected, it wasn't my mom after all. She came in the room and was all like, "I thought you wanted the light on." And I was like, "Yeah, I did, but you came back a few minutes ago, remember?" And then she was like, "No, I just came back inside right now." So of course, I was feeling confused and a bit freaked out. So at this point, I finally roll over to look at her, and she was just now getting into the bed. And I asked her again if she was sure she was just now coming in. And she was like, "Yeah, I just finished smoking." Which I thought was weird, because then who was hurting my back, lol. So I thought maybe I imagined the whole thing, and asked my mom if she can shine her phone's flashlight on my back because it felt itchy. And when she looked at it, she said it was all red with scratch marks, and she joked about me being flexible. Lol. So, anyway. Yeah, sorry if this was long and also boring/stupid. I just still think of this literal years later and am like, yeah, what was that all about? Oh boy. I just heard 2 sharp raps on my TV stand. I'm sleeping, or trying to sleep, next to, had enough time to think, that's weird, and pondered the sharpness of the noise, and then heard my entire metal fan fall of the table right next to my head. Scared the shit out of me at 4:02 AMA. I was clearing out my granddad's attic when I found it. The old lamp. It was covered in dust and grime, but it had an aura. It glinted at me strangely. Rubbing it on my sleeve, I nearly shit myself when the jinn erupted from its spout in a vortex of richly colored smoke. "Do not fear," it proclaimed. "I am the jinn of the lamp, and I grant you 3 wishes." I wished for the obvious first. You limited wealth. I was skint, living on benefits, and had developed several habits that were bordering on addiction. Secondly, I wished to end all wars, factoring in an addendum about more compassionate diplomatic relations. With only 1 wish left, I paused. What was the rush? I would wait for my life to reveal what that 3rd wish should be for. Then, after the birth of our first child left me so stressed I could barely remember it. I struggled with a keen, gnawing sense of regret, and then it hit me. For my third wish, I would ask for the ability to experience the truly important moments of my life in a crystallized, almost slow magmega-like state of awareness, which could be turned on or off by touching the lamp. And so, that was my life for decades. Rich, at peace, present. I experienced the birth of my second child in high, watched my firstborn graduate from college for what felt like days, truly met the gaze of my wife when she announced her cancer diagnosis, and so on. Experiencing each of these life events at a speed that I could truly appreciate them, but eventually idleness caught up with me. I started a venture with some friends that would require a bit of traveling. Everything was going well. Then one day I was driving down a wooded road at speed when I noticed a flicker of blue lights on the canopy above. It caught my eye for just a second too long. Then the slow moment kicked in. Why? I thought. Turning to face forwards, I watched the back end of the car in front barrel towards me. Bizarrely, it had slowed to let the fire engine go by. I collided before I'd even tapped the brakes. Then, I felt everything. As the chassis crumpled, the dashboard lurched forwards, pinning my left thigh. Then the airbag deployed, forcing my spectacles into my face. Glass and shards of plastic swirled around me, tearing at my skin as I was thrown forward. As the car rolled, I bounced off every upright. Losing consciousness, I watched the lamp float past and swirled in a field of debris as I grasped at it. Missing it, just. I came to surrounded by medics. Blood pulsed slowly from the gaping wound where my left leg used to be. I felt pain everywhere. The whirl still turned in slow Madden. Then I heard the words no lampholder wishes to hear. La-lula-lula. A nearby voice yawned.